The ancestor for my family that I'd want to invite into the Sukkah as a guest would be the person who I was named for, Aryeh Eric Sachs. He was born with the name Eric because he was born in what was then Germany, but is actually today Poland. But he took on the name Aryeh after he made Aliyah to Israel. So he was born in a town in Poland, and eventually his family settled in Kolberg, which is right on the shore, kind of a resort town in Poland today, then Germany. And his musical talents were sort of discovered as a boy. He was a very, very gifted musician, and he then received training from his childhood up on. And he was apparently so gifted that at the age of 14 even, he was invited to be and play with the Berlin Symphony Orchestra even when he was just 14. So his piano teacher was very smart, though. He wanted to give him a very rounded education. So in addition to all of the classical training, he also had him accompany the new cinema that had opened up in town. And so he played music for all of the silent films, which then later in his career gave him the ability to not only play complex scores, but also accompany artists without any scores written. And he was apparently quite gifted at both. But eventually he moved to Berlin when he got older, and there he studied law, and he also went to the Stern Conservatorium of Music. The Weimar Republic at the time in Germany was a pretty interesting place for him to be as a young man. All kinds of art and a really very deep cultural scene, but with the rise of the Nazis to power, it became very clear. Eric, who would become Aryeh, was not going to be able to study law and was not going to find that this community would be very welcome to him for much longer. So he actually became a pioneer in then Palestine, today Israel. He became a chalutz. And he went over with other European Jewish youth to go till the land. The community he was in, they had very little background with farming or agriculture, so they didn't do very well. It was tough. So he had a day off in Tel Aviv, and he went to a cafe where he heard some music playing, and during a break, he went up to the piano and wanted to see what he could remember and how he did. And as he was playing on the keyboard, on the piano, the cafe owner came by and said, "Whoever you are, you're hired. You know, you should come work for us." And he said, "No, I'm a chalutz. I'm here to work the land." And he said, "Well, what do you get paid to work the land?" And he said, "Well, £4." And the cafe owner said, "I'll pay you 7." And he said, "No, I really can't." He went back to his pioneering community, and they said, "Well, goodness, you keep the £4. We'll take the 3 extra pounds. You'll contribute more to the effort that way than you ever could as a farmer." And that really began his career as a musician in Israel. This is all pre-statehood. And he became very sought after because there were not many gifted pianists. And he very quickly began a career for himself. Now, the British Mandate government wanted to set up a radio. And he applied to be a part of this broadcast, to be a part of the burgeoning new radio station that would open up. And he got the part, and he actually, his piano playing were some of the first things, actually the very first things that were heard broadcast over the radio in Israel. And that sort of jolted the rest of his career, where he worked in radio as a musician and as a producer, both playing the piano and producing other musicians. He really gained international fame in this role, and he loved sort of helping out new musicians who were young artists. And he was the first to produce broadcasts for Yitzhak Perlman, Daniel Barenboim, Shlomo Mintz, others. And he also liked to introduce new composers. He founded Kol Yisrael, which was a young musician competition that still goes on in Israel, and for decades was really an integral part of the musical scene in Israel. I never had the opportunity to meet him, and if I could invite anybody to my sukkah to get to know them better, it would be Aryeh Eric Sachs, for whom I'm named. And in fact, there is 2 streets where they come together. The municipality of Jerusalem named that section for him. So I can visit family, and I can visit the street section that's named for him, but I'd very much like to meet him. He's who I would invite into my sukkah.